Welcome everyone to the Incredicast podcast. I'm Adam Hurst, joined with David Kerrigan, and today on our show we have a special guest, William Richard.
Yeah, welcome in. Thanks you guys for having me. My name is William Richard. If you don't know me, some people may know me on Twitter as NASCAR Opinion. That's at NASCAR_opinion. Really cool to be on the podcast today. I know I do a podcast of my own, the NASCast, and I've checked you guys out. You guys hit me up, and I said, man, this is a great opportunity to just talk NASCAR and talk to more fans. So it's an honor to be on.
So we had what was known as the Great American Race, or the Daytona 500, and I think this year was A+. That's what I would give it, wouldn't you?
Action-packed for sure. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Definitely, to me, it's a race that hit all facets. You had, as much as you don't want to see people wreck, some people tune in for that. You had that. You had some exciting big names up front, and then you had a crazy finish. I think that's all you can ask for.
Yep.
Yeah, for sure.
The three back in victory lane after, 20 years? So that's...
Yeah,
Yeah.
In the very exact day, too.
Yeah.
So...
Yeah, 20 years.
Going crazy.
20 years, and with a lucky penny in the car, just like Dale.
Yeah, with the penny, too.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. That was cool. But, yeah, in the first stage, we had Hamlin, who just, my gosh, on the start, did you guys see him on the very first part of the race? He got a early lead and was no coming back to him.
Yeah. Yeah, that was an impressive lead.
It was really strong to start the race. I know the 88 kind of just randomly went out of nowhere, but it was really, really cool to see the 11 just kind of shoot out to the lead early.
Then we had that caution, which that would forever, have everything changed because with Hamlin, when he was had a horrible job with the pit stop, with his pit boxes, and then they had the add-on with the gas man, the penalty with that, so it just added on to.
Yeah, it was
problems for him. A really fast car.
Yeah.
Get sent to the back for the whole race. So
yeah, it was crazy. I know we'll probably get into it, but there was so many pit stop mistakes. I get it, first race of the year, but I was thinking maybe the ride height rule being lowered, maybe some reason drivers are having vision issues, but I know Hamlin was the first one to have the issue, but he was definitely not the last one of the day.
Yeah.
Yeah, for sure. And then what happened to the 18, Adam?
Oh yeah, the 18, 2 years in a row, he blows a tire early on, so that it wouldn't necessarily ruin his day, but ultimately it would because he did it again. I don't know if that was in the same stage, but I do know that he blew a tire twice.
I believe it was in the same stage, but
Yeah.
Yeah, it really killed him. And with this new rule for having only 4 guys on pit road, no? Is it?
I think it's
I think it's the 5.
five.
I think it's 5. You're
5 guys. I'm sorry, 5. 5. Yeah, it really hurts you even more because of the timing. You're going slower on pit road, and it's a speedway track like that, so
Yeah.
once you get out of the draft, you're pretty screwed. And we saw the same thing that happened in the Clash, basically. Kyle Larson, can he drive that car? My goodness, with save after save. These new cars are so loose at times, in the draft, out of the draft, and he was all over the place.
Yeah, I actually had that as a moment in my race recap. I think it was I had it on lap 57. I remember watching that exact moment, and I thought the second half of the field was gone because all I saw, because the camera moved right when it happened, you saw some white car just completely lose it, and then I'm thinking, okay, the back half of the field's crashed, and then it comes back and there's nobody but Joey Logano with a little bit of contact, and that was unbelievable safe because 9 out of 10 drivers would have wrecked that race car.
Oh, for sure. Oh, for
Yeah.
sure. And the clash too, just how he handled that. You know, in turn 1, he went below the apron, came back up, and was, you know, had that car saved.
Yeah, that's one of those things, you know, they say dirt track races to get car handling, and I mean, it shows with some of those guys. Just the fact that you can get used to it, calm down, take a deep breath, and do what you got to do to save the race car.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Then we had the huge wreck. We had at the first wreck of the day. What happened with that one?
Oh well, I believe the first wreck it was with Stenhouse, right?
Right.
Yeah, Stenhouse and Blaney. Just a racing deal, I would say, but that did end up causing Eric Jones, Jimmy Johnson, Daniel Suarez, William Byron. Truex got a little bit of it, but not too much. DJ Kennington and Ty Dillon, their days. More importantly, the Jimmy Johnson, you know, his days.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He keeps wrecking at Daytona, man.
Third time.
Jimmy Johnson, yeah, that dude cannot catch a break. And what's crazy is when you look at a replay of that crash, the whole Stenhouse incident, it was like it was a spark to it, but technically the whole thing could have been prevented. If you look at the replay,
Yeah.
what happens is, you know, you have Blaney give that huge push, and then Stenhouse goes crazy back up the track. But what actually caused it was Eric Jones in the 20. He starts wanting to shoot the gap in below the 17. And then as soon as he gets ready to shoot that gap, the 88 of Bowman just comes up, fills that gap. Jones miraculously doesn't make contact with the 88, goes back up the track, but the car was so loose, and I believe someone got in the back of him. And, I mean, at that point, it was just mayhem.
Yeah, and you had on Suarez, you had the cam inside the car on the driver cam, and, you know, he just got clipped and got turned hard right into the wall, which, you know, for Truex and for Jones too, and for the 48, there was not a lot, you know, he could do personally.
Yes,
but
yeah, sometimes in Daytona you just get in those circumstances. You know, you can't do anything.
yeah,
So, unfortunate.
on the
for them.
high line,
Yeah.
really. Oh yeah, like the 48 was.
But then Kurt Busch goes on to win stage 1, the very first stage of the season. So that's really important for him.
Had a really fast car. All the Fords really did. End of the first stage, and then a whole stage 2, as we're going to go into, with Ryan Blaney. He led the entire stage 2, and then even going on to stage 3.
Yeah, he led over like
that 12
100
car.
laps. It was just impressive by Ryan Blaney.
Yeah, Ryan
Ryan,
Ryan Blaney was trying to prove me wrong in the first race of the year, because all off season I've been kind of beating the drum that I don't know how good the 12 car is going to be, just because Ford having their issues, and then Penske's never been great with a third car. And I guess week 1, I don't know if he caught wind of that, but he put on a show with that. I'm always a big fan of the Menards cars with that bright yellow Ford.
yeah, and you just talked about how their team history with having a third car really has never been good at. And you're totally, you know, right about that. They had Sam Hornish way back when, and, you know, Kurt Busch was in the 2. You had Newman in the 12, and those two guys were strong every week, always there. And then you had Hornish, who he just kind of lagged a little bit behind. You know, that whole team really didn't have the chemistry. Currently now they have, well, you could say they have a 4-car team technically, you know, with the 21 of Paul Menard adding on to that. And they really handled themselves, I would say, you know, Class A during this entire period of the speed weeks, with the Clash and the duels and now the 500. So
Yeah.
really huge to see how Team Penske progresses in this year. But what happened to our man, driver of the number 24 car?
Well, just like Kyle Busch, William Byron blows a tire. I believe he does it not only once but twice later on.
Yeah, the first time he did it, it was in turn 4, I believe, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, it was in turn 4 because I thought the camera made it look like maybe him and the 43 got together, but really he just got loose and floated it into the wall a little bit. And then the second one you're talking about was really, really late in the race.
Yeah.
Just how unpredictable they are currently at this stage.
That's true. I think a lot of it probably I'm interested to see if it's just the ride height rule that made it that way. But the ride height rule and a combination of just how crazy these cars are right now, I mean, it definitely made it really unpredictable on Sunday.
Yeah. I could definitely see that for sure. And then we had Annika Patrick, who she would exit NASCAR the exact same way she came in, forged in a fire, as you could possibly say.
Yeah.
But wasn't her fault, though. You had the 2-car of Brad Keselowski. He was involved in this big wreck. The 4-car of Harvick, Casey Kane with his first race with his new team, and the 9-car of Chase Elliott. What happened in this wreck?
You could see like Brad and Chase, those going for, they just had a big run. But then Blaney goes up to block, and then Chase gets loose, and then there you go. There's a big wreck. That's how things work at Daytona. Harvick, though, almost evades it.
He was so close.
Yeah. I actually thought he made it when they first showed it, but then showed another camera angle, then it's like, oh, okay.
Yeah, he was really close because when we watched the race, I watched it as a family. My dad's a huge Harvick fan, and like we're thinking, okay, we saw that originally he ended up getting in the crash. We're like, wait a second, he wasn't. He was in it, but he looked like he had a lane. I think it might have been the 2-car. Just brings it back down the track randomly and just clips him, and there goes the 4-car.
Yeah, he was really close up against that wall, And we talk about when we go to Talladega and also at Daytona, of course, about these crashes that happen, to your front, to your left, to your right. There's really not a lot you can do at certain times. And the 4-car and the 7-car even, they really didn't have anywhere to go. There really wasn't a lot more they could do.
Yeah.
And then you had the 17-car of Stenhouse. I don't know if he had debris on the front or if he was just in the draft for too long. I don't know what happened to him. However, his car, it became really thirsty. Wouldn't you guys say?
Extremely thirsty.
That is a fact.
Yeah, that would force him to pit, and then therefore overheating, go down. I don't know if it was 2 laps, but I think it was 1 lap. Not entirely sure.
Ended his day for sure.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was enough to where like the 17-car, because I'm assuming they got it cooled back down. Who knows? But he just disappeared the rest of the day.
But then after that, Blaney would go on to win stage 2, and I would say in dominating fashion.
Yeah, he was. He had the clean air. He was in front. Yeah,
he had a very fast car, and then obviously, I think people had realized we need to calm it down a little bit if we're going to have a shot to win this race. So I remember watching it because every time I watch it, I always write down, the top 10 of the stage. And I'm like, okay, we're going to go single file here for the last 3 laps. So I start jotting numbers down, and then everybody starts fanning out. Luckily, they did not crash, but Ryan Blaney, he had a blazing fast car.
Yeah. Then at a certain point of the race, they had that single file line, and then Byron, as we was talking about, that's when he would blow another tire, and that would create an exciting restart to see who will be the 500 champion.
Yeah, they wrecked out half the field previously. Yeah. So it was like, well, who is, here in this race still? And Denny Hamlin, after all his mishaps and misfortunes, with the horrible pit stop, including the penalty in the back all day. He was all alone for some time, and his teammate Kyle Busch came there, and they were drafting, and Casey Kane, after everything that happened to him, almost won this race. He was leading at the caution with 2 laps to go in overtime. He came back and was leading this race, and that was it right there. They had a crazy restart. So what happened in that final restart?
Final restart, Almirola started in P2, and he had an amazing...
On the outside.
Take it. He had an amazing restart. He manages to get the lead. He stays out front mostly the entire overtime up until Austin Dillon, the controversy that all of Twitter is talking about right now. Yeah. But Austin Dillon clips him just a little bit. Almirola goes into the wall. And then Austin Dillon brings the 3-car back to victory lane in the 500.
Yeah, it was definitely crazy. I was loudly cheering for Bubba Wallace there at the end, and I would have loved for him to get a shot. But I mean, crazy last restart, and as much as you try to keep your bias out of it, I think everybody's like, let's get somebody we didn't expect to win. The 11 cars up there, the 22's up there, but we got all these other smaller teams, or maybe not smaller teams, but underdog guys, and it was a cool restart there at the end.
So the next race on the list is Atlanta Motor Speedway. So, yeah, now is the real race. Now is where we see
mile and a halves always show horsepower, and they always show who has the best car. So
that is true. I actually plan on going there this weekend because they have
nice.
Yeah, I plan on going this weekend. And a trick I always tell people. 2 things. I've actually been out of school for 2 years, but they have a really cool package for like college students. They can go for like $25 to the race. And so I'm going to definitely be taking advantage of that. And I already got next Monday off as well. So I'm really ready to roll because, like I said, I mean, this weekend is where it all gets real. I talked about it in my blog this week. You forget Daytona. Daytona, as much as I love it, it's a show. It's a parade. Now it's time for us to really be part of it.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, which is true because you had halfway, like, barely past halfway in the 500, and half the field was gone, Yeah. So, but yeah, Atlanta. Who do you guys believe will take home the trophy there?
That's a good question.
It's a great question because, like, historically, as much as I've said I don't think Fords are fast, the 2 guys, because I also was at that race last year, was I believe Harvick dominated and then Keselowski ended up winning. So I'm not really sure. As much as I've predicted Fords to struggle, I've got to think Blaney's going to be fast. But if I had to pick a winner, I guess if I'm going to Vegas and I'm betting on somebody, I'd have to say probably a guy like Martin Truex Jr. just because how fast they were last year.
Yeah, I mean, you wouldn't be wrong by picking him any week, It's Adam?
As for me, I think this is where Chevy will show their... If they do have dominant cars, this will be a place where they will shine. And I think Jimmy Johnson, since his bad luck at Daytona, he wants to get back in victory lane. I think 7-time will be back in victory lane at Atlanta.
I was just thinking that same thing. I'm like picking Truex because I don't want to be biased and say the 9 car, but I think it could be a very big week for Hendrick Motorsports.
Oh yeah, definitely.
I can see that for sure. We have a Toyota, we have a Chevrolet. I'm gonna be the oddball here, and I'm gonna go with the 22 of Joey Logano.
Ooh, that's interesting.
Like you said, the 4 car should have won last year. His horrible pit crew of last year, they really killed him on the final stop of the race. even though that happened, a Ford would still go on to win it. We saw last year the 2 and the 4 really were the only ones who could even challenge Truex at these tracks like Texas, Atlanta, even Charlotte. So I'm gonna go with the 22.
That's a bold. Unfortunately, Joey Logano has become a bold pick as of late, but I think we're going to probably see him have a better year, and I honestly think that could be a nice sleeper pick.
Oh yeah. So yeah, look out for the 48. Look out for the 78. Look out for the 22 on Sunday.
There we go.
But I do believe that is all we have.
I believe so. We do have to quickly say that we apologize for the video that we promised for last Wednesday, I believe. NASCAR had contacted us and had said that they would not be able to come through, and so we were not able to talk to a driver, sadly, but we're keeping our heads up about the future. We were told to wait, and so we'll be here.
Yeah, I hope we can get a driver for you guys someday, but fortunately, it's not this week.
Oh well, though. But
yeah.
But yeah, everyone, if you have the chance, go on to Twitter and go find a NASCAR opinion there, and also the NASCast.
Oh yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much.
I'm active all the time, and like I said, I appreciate you guys inviting me on today.
Thank you for coming.
Yeah, glad to have you.
Anytime.
Okay, guys. Well, we'll see you next time, and remember, if it's fast, it's on Incredicast, and we hope you have a good.
My.
Yeah, I'm sorry.
It's a
It
catchphrase.
sounded catchy. But yeah, have a good week, everyone.